So far, though, no changes. Seeing the exact same one. And honestly, if you're mad, I wouldn't even be mad if you just run it back here with the draft, right? It was all down to execution. The early game was played out by them in such an overpowering fashion. So far, doesn't look like anything is changing.
Yeah, I would say maybe get rid of the cannon, although I don't know if you want to give that over to Zeus. It didn't necessarily get used to the most impactful, but so far, Salty run back on the cards.
Yeah, kept waiting for the big mad fight where they're gonna all in there, but all right. So far, yep, run back the cannon. Happy to run back the Cassante. Zeus did get a solo kill on him, as well as have a lot of, you know, stabilizing plays for T1. Played a really good front line for them. Guma, no questions about the Aphelios play, so they insta-run back that one.
And so far, no big changes coming up here in the first part of the draft.
And I think there's good reason for that from T1's side. T1 are saying, okay, you outplayed us a bunch in the early game. Your bottom lane plays, well done, Hillsang. You know, they're like, hats off to you. But they have the confidence that they just outplayed Mad Lions for the last 15 minutes straight of that game in teamfight after teamfight. And so they're confident to do it again. Mad Lions are thinking the flip of that, okay, we just have to not throw.
Yeah.
Because we had our big early lead.
I'm also happy to see the Annie pivot. I do not believe Niski had the greatest impact on that champion. I also think into really coordinated, really calculated teams like the LCKs, Annie's just very linear, very predictable. Also, Niski ate like 1,000 hooks. So immediately in phase 2, Pyke is banned away, and this is the biggest significant change from game number 1.
And one that I think really speaks to T1 also identifying that we got away with it in the last game. We will not be able to get away with it again. Pyke being taken away means that with the Xayah already there, Guma and Scaria should be feeling safer in game number 1. And Faker, early game might not have been what they were looking for, but that team fight carrying that he did was incredible.
These are like solo queue reactions where you're just banning out the thing that hooked you in the last game. Hillsang kept hooking T1. They're like, I'm never playing versus that again. Get that off me.
Come on, just ban Thresh and every hook champion's gone, right?
Faker kept landing hooks on the Mad Lions and ulting to start all their team fight set up for Guma, so Mad Lions doing the same thing, banning that out.
Oh, and the Annie is still going to get taken away. Now there is of course still the potential that the Cassante will be flexed, so expected to see either the Viego is one that we talked about previously. This was something that T1 was hovering, more of a Gen G pick, but with the amount of attention that T1 have shown thus far towards Guma, Maokai makes complete sense. Extremely safe pick, is able to provide reliable frontline as well as engage.
Okay, I'm expecting T1 to get some damage for Faker then, because if they did straight one-person carry, then it would be pretty difficult there. I mean, as good as Guma did play, but Maokai going to have significantly less damage, so we'll see what Faker with the counter pick wants to run into Niski here. Niski's going to have to show right now what's his blind into Faker.
And looking at Hillsang, by the way, he's locked in that rel. 700 professional games for Hillsang. 20 of them, or rather correction, 18 of them have been on the rel. So it's definitely not something we see a significant amount from him. He does have a fairly high 60% win ratio. Lissandra will be that pick in the mid lane. You talked about the blind pick. And the last couple of seconds here for T1, we're going to find out what runs mid lane. We have seen a little bit more just on a mid in the past, and it's going to be locked in for the Karma there now. So Karma mid, Lulu bottom.
That is a bit lower damage than I was going for, but it is super duper buff up Guma Yushi here. Are they going to flex it to have Faker with the Cassante mid matchup?
Ooh, what do you prefer?
I actually really liked the Carmine mid, because I think that Lissandra, if she doesn't get out of her lane, and if she's continuously shoved underneath the turret, which generally Karma will be able to, then impacting the map becomes a lot harder. But the same can be said for Kennen, right? Kennen can struggle in matchups where he's not able to really leverage a range advantage, where he can't reliably outpoke the opponent. So really big pivot here from T1. And in game number 1, all eggs were in the basket of Gumayushi. And in game number 2, all eggs are in the...
They found more eggs. They found more eggs, and they handed them to Guma. And Guma has not dropped an egg since he was handed any of them.
I mean, they do tell you to not keep all your eggs in one basket, but when the basket is as firm and warm and lovely as Maokai Karma,
really strong,
why not keep them in the Guma basket?
All right, no more eggs, no more basket talk, please.
Okay. Are you putting your foot down?
I will say, to me, the biggest change that I think is the best change that T1 have possibly made here is for sure banning the Pyke, because Rel can make picks, and Hillsang is a great Rel, but it's just not the same surprise factor. It's so much more telegraphed when Rel is coming in for the crash down, for the ultimate combos there. So should be more easily reacted to by Guma.
Well, we're gonna find out as we load onto the Rift. If I can take a very brief moment to celebrate something, assuming no action breaks out. Faker, playmaker. God King himself has reached his 200th international game. And right now, he's looking to make it 2-0 against the Mad Lions. And as I say that, the gift is given that owner concede first blood to Mad. That's not my fault.
The crash down is not telegraphed if you're in a bush and they walk up to your brush.
Nice. Yeah.
Surprise, a horse falls out of the sky onto your head and they give the first blood money over to Carzzy because they have this luxury. Oh no, actually
No,
the ignite.
yeah, it went to
no, the ignite tick.
Yes.
Oh, they tried to give it over to him. Okay, ignite tick does its work.
And it kind of ties into what we saw in the previous early game. I think T1 really need to start taking less early game risks and just running around like the map belongs to them, because Mad are clearly saying, we do not stand for that.
Well, we do not stand for that. Mad Lions getting a bit of deja vu. Starting the game off with an early kill onto a T1. This time it was in the jungle instead of the bottom lane. Give you a quick update, by the way. 50 kills in that previous game. It's the highest number of kills at MSI this year, obviously. It is also the 5th bloodiest game of any MSI ever. That is how action-packed it was. And it started off strong. Guma and Carrier were stepping the trade a little bit. And you can see Alyoya, he spotted on that ward.
Only 5th, Trevor?
Only
we can
5th.
do better. We can do
yes,
better.
Come on. Let's make the next 5 games 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in terms of bloodiness. And that seems to be the case for now. Once again, by the way, Owner starting top half of the map, Alyoya clearing out the Krugs on the bottom.
This time around, though, T1 is very aware. Did spot Alyoya on the ward. So should be completely fine here. It looks like Alyoya also realizing that, heading towards the Raptors.
Yeah, T1 very clearly that whole time thinking about these adjustments all around bottom lane early, because that was the whole story for Mad Lions. So not only do they ban the Pike, they also deport the Krugs, they also have them get the chunk on bottom side. They didn't necessarily plan for the first blood, but
no one plans to concede first blood, to be fair. I will say, by the way, if you keep an eye on the minimap, because we've got the Karma top into the cannon, it might be a lane that we want to keep an eye on just a little bit more. Thank you, observers, for that one. Also, because for Chasey, I think expectations here, especially for European fans here in London watching, that was Chasey's first defeat on Cannon in his career. It was his 9th game played. This is now his 10th. Playing into the Karma, this is not something that we see a huge hell of a lot in the LEC, and we already see being bullied, being pushed forward those mantra queues.
Tell you what, we also haven't seen a whole lot of it in the LCK
Touché.
for a really long time, right? And Zeus is a player that has struggled at times in high pressure situations, and this is now previously the Xante game, and in this one, he is going full support.
for this man that was just on your screen a second ago there, Guma, as they're pushing in, they're having much better lane phase this time around, obviously, with all of the adjustments. Getting up to the tower, tower pressure in their favor, actually, and Owner, since he started on that top side with the Maokai, easy, leisurely clear towards the bottom side, splits the Scuttle Crabs exactly how they want with Mad Lions, and Alyoya does get this one. Faker's going to be the target, but both junglers are here.
All right, 2v2, glacial path forward, Ring of Frost, rather, onto the little kitty cat. Pressure on the bottom lane, Carzzy's under threat, forced to flash for his life, and the flamethrower just out of range. Faker, tick, tick, tick. The shield's healing him for alive for now. No flash for Niski. The sapling toss will go forward. Oh. That's the flash, Bramble toss smash. Owner gets one back, and now Niski's in a little bit of trouble. Starting to back ways, low on Mad, does not want that fight.
And this is the other part of the puzzle last game for Mad. It wasn't just that bot lane was winning, it was that the mid lane 2v2 went extremely heavily in favor of Mad. This time around, T1 is able to get out ahead.
And bear in mind, that was Hylissang that had first blood, still getting beaten up in that 2v2. T1 500 gold up, bottom lane winning, gank mid lane successful. And Zeus in the top lane, keeping Chasey under the tower.
Yeah, the only hiccup there for T1, I think Keria healed when maybe he thought he had Ignite or something as Carzzy was flashing away. Regardless, it's still a big, good trade for them. And the CS difference is going to be massive, plus the recall timings here. Boots level 2, Berserker Greave rush for Guma, but mid lane dive, Hilly's here!
Ferromancy crash down, ticking. It's Elyoya with the kill. Hylissang will get taken down though. And it's secured by Faker. Now Elyoya the target. Guma is ticking away. He's got the purple gun, got the root down, and got the backup of T1. Another kill to Guma.
Yeah, the timing of that dive and the extra turret shot there. Guma's walking back from base off his reset with his upgraded Berserker Greaves and gets to be handed an extra kill. That is exactly what Mad Lions do not want. It's money traded here for, you know, a kill over to jungle in exchange for a kill onto the Aphelios is going to be rough.
And here, crucially, in that early 2v2, right, we do see that Niski's able to bring Owner with him, which means that Faker in the 1v1s against Elyoya doesn't really have a large shot, but Faker stays alive.
It was really good use of his Aftershock there. Faker, he tanks fully the Lee Sin, then as soon as his Aftershock falls off, he flashes out and jumps to the top side. Faker fully tanked up to like 10% of his life right there.
Well, Faker's gonna not be able to do that just yet. Glacial Pod this time round, ticking. He gets away! Elyoya and Niski, they fumble it. They don't get that last hit.
And that is the second mid lane gang that isn't working out. And the previous one, what I wanted to highlight in that replay as well before we went back to live, Owner being there to me is a sign that T1 is also catching on to what Mad did so well in game number 1, which was snowball, 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 continuous aggression. Anyone with a low health bar around the turret is going to get taken down. And Owner, even though he was a little bit behind the play, you see T1 was still expecting it.
And T1 right now got that lead, crucially 15 CS plus a kill to Guma in the bottom lane. And that's Protect the President comp, Raise the Puppy, whatever you want to call it. Guma has started off incredibly well, already got a plate. Nearly securing his second plate. Hilly's trying to threaten with that Hex Flash. And look, red, white, Guma wants to fight. There's backup as well, because look, 2 members of T1 in the river, they're going to get an early dragon.
Yeah, overall, gold leads are talked about a lot in League of Legends, but concentration of gold is incredibly important, and especially when you have a comp like this that is so hyper-focused in one direction. Owner going to be able to pick up the dragon also. Wards here protecting both entrances. They easily pick that one up off of the bottom lane push.
And Chronicler, I get nervous when I look at Mad Lions this game because already they're behind in dragons and gold and kills. And then I think about how on earth does Kennen and Lissandra and Rel get through Karma, Maokai, Cassante. And even if they do, there's a Lulu Wild Growth as backup. So there is so much zoning tools and control to buy time for Guma to melt through Mad Lions.
And in the last game, they didn't need that,
No,
right?
they
didn't
didn't.
need Guma to be fed. They didn't need any of the frontliners to be in a great spot. And I think that Mad, unfortunately, if they fall too far behind in the early game, they're not going to be able to. We saw in the previous game that the amount of leads that they were able to generate should have been, wasn't really working out, but should have been turned into a really big level of map control. As, oh, Niski.
Well, Niski still got that E if he needs it, still got the flash as well. Will be able to get over the wall. Takes a little bit more of a trade, but yeah, again, Owner just kind of shadowing this middle lane, always around whenever any threat is up. Cheeky recall, gonna get spotted. Got the ultimate available. Why are you recalling there? Why are you in the bush? Niski gets taken down for a, in my opinion, unforgivable recall occasion.
This is honestly devastating for Mad Lions. Not only does that give over full pressure for this Rift Herald, but bottom side, you then leave Guma alone. He was pushing Carzzy into his own tower there. They send the Rel back bottom side, and they're still making the play top.
Looking for the initiation. Chasey's got the Maelstrom. Manages to get Zeus. He flashes over the wall. Chased by Chasey. Zeus still stays alive. Look at those fancy feet. Chasey's on the route. Not going to be able to find the kill just yet. Zeus still under the tower. Well, that's going on. 2v2 in the bottom lane. Gumayushi, he's got himself that quiver. Looking for the crash down. Hilly turns his attention back to Kiri. Gets turned into a munchkin. Finally, Zeus is down. The feathers are pulled backwards, and the Moonlight Vigil is dodged by the Feather Storm. There's no E available. Flash away from Guma and T1. They've got the first of the fight. Guma's looking for the next. The E comes back up. The cleanse keeps the chase alive. Carzzy and Hilly got so close, but damn, they were so far. Now Niski's in trouble. Faker's running him down. Goes all out under the tower. The third proc in the queue. Flashed away from underneath the tower and flashed 1-for-1 in the mid lane. And somehow Carzzy escapes.
Oh my goodness, it's blood all over the map, Trevor. Well done casting all 3 lanes at once. Bottom side, Keria does get back down to Guma and allow him to get not only another kill, but you just saw on your screen that huge minion wave that is going to die in front of the tower. Hylissang is going to be the one that gets there first, and money into Hylissang. Again, concentration of where your gold is going, not ideal here for Mad Lions. Oh, Hilly with the flop on the large corner.
And by Guma effectively here is 1v2, and by the time he starts this play, he starts being in. Keria is still like halfway in the river, but once they're committed, they're just unable to get the damage down right. And I think in these all-ins, Aphelios is so difficult to deal with, particularly if you don't have the CC from the Rel available.
Yeah, he flashes this one here. So Guma Flash and Cleanse were both used. If there is one, ray of hope or copium for Mad Lions, it is now.
Injecting into me, Kobe.
It is that there.
Copium.
There are no sums on Guma, so they called down Owner and said the 3rd and 4th summoner spell with Faker coming down to try and protect.
Listen, 2,000 gold is the lead. I would like to ask the observers to quickly toggle over to the individual player golds when they get a chance. Nature's Grasp is thrown out. That 2,000 gold, 1,500 of that lead is with Guma. Kazi gets pushed all the way backwards from a beautiful engage from Ona, and that is 3 more kills to T1. It was just beautiful.
And the tower.
And they got the Herald from way back, right? When Zeus was able to stay alive, the rest of the team was like, good luck. You try and stay alive as long as you can. We know you're going to go down, but we're going to get the Herald. They didn't even need the Herald here. They could have left it in their pocket because the 3v3 goes disastrously wrong. And when you have a composition like this, and the Aphelios is this fed with, as you were pointing out, Trevor, this much frontline, and 2 enchanters,
4 kills, an assist, as well as a 30 CS lead. Mythic completed already, and a Maokai that's at 3-1-3. My word, T1 have got all the tools they need to just let Guma, once again, bow down and destroy the Mad Lions.
Niski just ulted Faker to get 1 extra tower shot worth of damage on the Cassante mid. And gave him the hats off. But here's what we were saying, there's no summoner spells on Guma. That's why, Mad Lions have that, the Hopium or Copium, whatever you want to call it, of trying to make a play on him. But with the Maokai there to peel for him, the peeling is too easy for T1. Owner and Keria keep him safe, and he takes him down.
There was a lady in the crowd earlier that said she's waited 10 years to see Faker pick LeBlanc for me. I hope Cassante will do it quite as flashy. To everyone else that's come here to Copperbox in London, thank you for joining us. Right now, T1 are in a significant advantage. 2-level lead here for Zeus over Hilly. The tower is under a little bit of pressure in a 1v2, but there is pretty significant wave flow once those minions do group up. Hilly steps in, look at the minimap, and again, congregation of T1 around that middle lane and Niski.
It's also Abyssal Mask karma, right? Like in the previous game, we saw it on Faker. He, on the Nautilus, got a lot of value of it. And even though the Catalyst was nerfed on this patch, we still see the value of it, particularly when you're a pick like the Karma that loves staying in lane for a long time, keeping your opponent under pressure. And it also means in situations like this, you're not going to be able to dive in.
Yeah, I mean, the Abyssal Mass and the Evan Shroud last time too, they're getting these little things to amp all the other little sources of damage.
Little source of damage?
Yeah.
Who might you be referring to, Kobe?
Kobe, let's talk a little bit about how Mad Lions do find their way back into this game. They've lost a tower, they're significantly behind. We already know it's going to be hard for them on the offensive to get to Guma. But how on earth do they claw this back?
Yeah, see, that's the thing, though. That's the thing that was missing in the last game. Mad Lions, they stalled out, and they should have been setting up those more aggressive plays with the flashes and big playmakers that they do have on the team. This time around, Niski's on the Lissandra to boot, so they've got even more to go for those really big setups. If Chasey has flash and Niski spellbooks over to his flash, like that should be a guaranteed engage dive onto them. Especially with Rel follow-up here, that CC will last a very long time. Problem is you're so far behind so early on, the protection is really difficult to get through. And even the setup of the Vision, which is your first setup to try and get those angles.
Well, Faker's going to start a fight, teleports it in. Down a level, Hilly's stepping forward. Not a lot of support here from T1. The interrupt on the crash down allows Faker to escape. That was just beautifully executed.
Yeah, unable to get anything done, even with Faker teleporting in and Hila being there, no opportunity. Yeah, I think the plan is very simple. It's kill Guma. It's not easy.
Exactly. Concentrated gold there, Kobe.
Yeah.
Visualized exquisitely. plus 2,000. Chasey forced to flash defensively once more. A Kennen running away with flash is nothing you ever want to see. But Zeus is the target. Nature's Grasp is rattling across the Mad Lions. Zeus still stays alive. That shield from the E is huge. All out will send Kazi packing. The feathers come back, but nobody is dead from T1. Nobody goes down. They get 2 kills and the Mad Lions are routed once more.
They threw everything onto tank Karma. That's not the target.
And then Faker comes in, he Cassante ults Carzzy out of the fight too, so they don't have their main damage source there. T1, that was a really nice little split there. They turn it around on the Mad Lions. They use that engage against them and are able to get an extra one.
Beautiful, beautiful team fight once again from T1. They've got themselves 2 dragons, they've got 11 kills, they've got a significant lead, and right now they are outclassing Mad Lions in every skirmish with or without the advantages.
And you know what's super devastating about that fight? Yeah, T1 got an extra kill, right? Okay, well, we got Kennen. They also got the big flashes that Mad Lions are really relying on. Niski is going to have to now be the one because he has the flash on Lissandra, but Guma still has his flash, has his cleanse, and he's got his teammates.
And even if Guma is out of position, as long as he has flash and cleanse, you're basically always playing one fight behind, right? You need to force those summoners, which in of itself I think is a big task, but then you need to be able to then get away from the fight because if he flashes and cleanses, you're probably not going to be able to win it, and then find another one of those angles. So for Mad Lions, they back really are against the wall, and I think it's going to require T1 leaving Guma alone or getting completely off guard by a Kennen, by a Rel, or by a Lissandra getting that backline access.
And I don't yet have confidence that Mad Lions can pull that off. We've seen 2 games already today where Chasey and Mad Lions have not necessarily been able to find those flanks, specifically on the Kennen. I think this game has kind of run away from them in terms of their ability to come back. So now it's, you're hoping for a mistake, you're hoping for a misstep. What we've seen from T1, what we expect from T1 in terms of their season, in terms of the last 2 years, the likelihood is incredibly low. So for Mad Lions now, calm themselves down. They have to try to find some sort of rhythm and momentum, because this is the team that's now potentially on the verge of match point, assuming they can't pull some miracle comeback.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, everybody who watched the previous game, Trevor, are in full agreement with you. Because if the Mad Lions couldn't do it then, it's going to be a lot more difficult this time around, where they don't have this ginormous lead, and T1 are forcing summoners and ults out of them.
And that's basically a guaranteed soul point here for T1, right? Like, you're going to give a Hextech soul to an Aphelios because Carzzy had to use his cleanse, had to use his ultimate.
Because of a Nyan Cat, right? Now, yes, I understand that obviously on Carzzy's side, had Guma or Ona continued to apply pressure after the Nature's Grasp, then there was kill threat. However, they didn't. So he just saw the Nyan and needed to throw out the feathers and the cleanse. We're 30 seconds away from Dragon
Whenever you say that,
3.
you have to do a little dance now.
Yeah, the only problem is I think they're recording it. So it's like,
yeah, that's
we'll wait for the next ultimate. We can do it in unison, right? Right now.
No, I don't want to dance. Don't rope me into this.
T1 on the verge of a 2-0, Chronicler. You owe me you owe London a dance. They definitely want to cheer that one.
Okay, don't put pressure on me. Come on.
Alyoria and Niski, backed up by Hilly. Faker will get rooted in place, locked down, all out. 3 members pushing forward. This isn't the highest damage trio. Niski gets knocked backwards from the 3rd Q. Carzzy's the target of Guma. Remember, no feathers. Remember, no cleanser may not matter. Carzzy escapes with his life, but Faker does not. And under the tower, Guma takes a lot of damage while all that's going on. Now Chase is in trouble, forced to use that slicing maelstrom. He's rooted in place thanks to that top Karma, trying to get the shurikens, trying to get the stuns. Under pressure as the middle lane is still being pushed by Guma, by Keria. Alyoria and Hilly arrive to the fray. Top lane continued to pressure as Mad Lions are looking at that inner top turret. While that's going on, the mid is still under pressure. This is cross-mapping all day long, Kobe.
Yeah, Guma's going right through the front door while all this action is going on the side lane. They actually finish the mid tower, they finish Carzzy!
Oh, look at that damage! Guma and Keria knock on the front door, take down the inhibitor as well. Recall's being channeled here as Niski will finally get back. The bottom inhibitor turret is now the next focus. Faker has been able to TP in after being taken down. That gold lead is growing even larger. Before 20 minutes, the base is blown wide open. And just like G2 yesterday, Mad Lions today dropping game 2 in dominant fashion to the LCK opponents.
Paul,
I like
That was the reverse. I got it
that you
backwards.
take control
I got it
there.
backwards.
Yeah, you take ownership though. Dominant dropping of the game.
They choked
They
us.
threw that sucker on the
I would
ground.
never go there. I would never go there, Quickster. You know me, but I'm glad you did.
Can I tell you, it is so fun to be casting with you guys again. I am having a blast despite the fact that T1 is smashing, man.
They certainly threw that game one on the ground. And this one here, all right, Dragon number 3, as you mentioned, T1 going to collect what is theirs.
And yeah, Matt, I think you have to back off here. At this point, it's either a very deep teleport flank coming in from either Chasey or Niski when a bot lane inhibitor is being pushed. We've seen over the years, even in this tournament, a lot of bot lane inhibitors leading to death and destruction. Or it is going to require a stand at the Nexus turret as Faker.
Niski took the gate. We'll be able to escape. That Ring of Frost did a lot of work, but as I saw him and Mad flying through that portal, Mad Lions starting group up. They feel the threat of a potential Baron. Remember, super minions into that middle lane. Not going to be the greatest at really setting up for Baron, but not only with the gold lead and with the pressure it's going to apply, it also will allow them to set up for the Soul, which is 4 minutes away. So T1 have just got a plethora of options on how they wish to taxi their way to the Nexus.
Yeah, I mean, their options are so plentiful that we literally just watched the last 2 minutes was Faker deciding to go 1v3 kind of int and just take up 3 people's time, and T1 came away with an inhibitor kill.
Yan. Hylissang is caught out. Magnet Storm is dropped and he's left to the Wolves, as it were. T1 get themselves an easy kill on the back of that Nature's Grasp. And now in a 5 versus 4, they peel back to Baron. Actually 5 versus 3, because Kazi's dealing with the supers.
The Maokai ult, the most disappointing way to get caught, the slow death coming towards you. All right, Elyoya, he's got the hopes. T1 stole a Baron last time around. Can Elyoya replicate?
3,000 hit points. Going low, Niski's coming as well. Chase is coming as well. 2,500. Sonic Wave connects. Hold your breath. Ladies, gentlemen, everybody else. Polymorph going to be enough to interrupt, and the Baron is just beautifully secured. Chasey is dunked on before any Maelstrom can be channeled. A teleport to the inner top lane turret, and Zeus is there leading the charge for T1. It is just exquisite control.
And sometimes T1 Baron setups scare the fans to death. This time around, really cleanly done. Keep it at a safe health total. Then Keria goes in with the heal, gets the polymorph. They burst it down. No steal option available.
Yeah, I think the honorable thing from T1 there would be to flip
give it.
Yeah, that would want to be fair.
Bad Lions flipped it for you. He'd give you a smite fight.
It would have been it, because I will say, as a fan of both League of Legends and Mad Lions, that Baron did not give me that same level of, oh, this is scary, as the game 1 did, where, of course, Ono was able to jump in. But look, this Red Bull Baron power play already at plus 3k. They already had supers in the middle lane, that inhibitor overview spawning in a minute and a half. The top lane has just been taken out, and at 22 minutes, with Baron, this gigantic gold lead, we're 2 minutes away from Soul, so my instinct is telling me, get the Soul, and then push for the final hits on the Nexus.
Might end up doing that. Considering it's T1, I wouldn't even be surprised if they just ran it with 5 people towards the mid lane and try to end the game before they end up taking the Dragon. The Dragon is kind of the be-all, end-all, right? Like, Hextech Soul provides so much utility, particularly when you have a pick like the Aphelios. And right now for Mad, I'm not seeing a lot of options here, unfortunately, as only one inhibitor, not even with a turret left standing.
Bear in mind, Guma and Keria have not died a single time this game. 7-0-3, 0-0-11. They have been the proactive team. They have been the ones starting the fight. Nearly, 75, 80% kill participation. It has been about them. Protect the President has worked beautifully.
Gentlemen, whenever there is a draft run back, you have to decide which is the team that did the salty run back and who was just right. One team is salty. Oh, here we go. We get chased in the
Elyoya has been chased by Faker. Down the bottom lane, here comes Chasey from behind. Slicing Maelstrom can finally get some targets. Nature's Grasp will at least hold them in place. I don't think that Maelstrom's putting out. Zeus is low, but where is Guma? So far untouched, so far undamaged, so far unkillable. T1 put together 3-4 quick kills and ace Mad Lions inside their base within Baron buff. T1 dominate game 2. And T1 are 1 win away from a rematch with Gen G in the upper brackets. What a dominant performance as Mad Lions were crushed from that bottom lane.
So in summary, T1 were right, Mad Lions were salty.
Oh,
with
so
the run back.
Aphelios is being banned? That's going to be my guess?
Aphelios is indeed a problem. T1, massive stuff this time around. So much more clean.
And we didn't get to talk about it that much, but I really want to talk a little bit about Owner, because I think his defensive play was the big difference maker between the previous game, because even though his Kha'Zix was big and the catches that he got were a big part of what allowed T1 to stay in the game, but on his Maokai, every time that there was an attempt from Mad Lions to snowball the early game like they did, he was always there. And when Maokai is able to get a lead on a game with his ultimate, with his saplings, it's so hard to come back.
And I think in game one, Alioya really had a significant impact on the early game. Ganking bottom lane, working with Kazi and Hylissang to accelerate that lead. The reply once the drop changes a little bit, as you mentioned, Owner at the top, but I do in the middle lane rather. But I do think the two key areas for me, Chasey I just don't think has found an impact. I want to see more from him and the team. Secondarily, Kazi is just simply not matching up to what Guma's doing. So we'll have to find out what Mad Lions do here at the Analyst Desk.